Hello and welcome to the Capital Area Theater Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Patterson, and this is episode 10. Now, for episode 10, we decided to do something a little different, and instead of having an individual interview, I chose to have my last 9 guests come back and take a bow of sorts. And so, rather than have you hear stories from me or over explain myself, let's hear from them. Up first is our first guest from the season, from episode 1, Tom Weaver.
So here I am in Reservoir Park in Harrisburg, working on building the set for Harrisburg Shakespeare Company's annual Free Shakespeare in the Park, which happens every June and has been happening out here in Reservoir Park for over 2 decades. So I'm out here building the set with our scenic designer, Andrew Nyberg, and something that always happens out here in the park, and one of the special things about this place and about this event are the connections that you make with the community and who you're able to meet. And yesterday, Andrew and I spent the better part of the afternoon with a 7-year-old kid from the neighborhood here, whose name is Charles, but we're not sure if his last name is Davenport or Berger. He told us both, and he laughed every time he said it, so we're thinking he was just kind of winding us up. He's 7, like I said. Today may or may not be his birthday. Again, he was laughing when he told us all that stuff, too. But it's just worthy to note that as people come out here and they see us working on this set and they ask us, what are you doing out here? And especially the kids, and we say, we're getting ready to do a Shakespeare play. And they ask, well, what's the play? And we tell them, and then they ask, well, what's it about? And then you start telling them, and then kids start showing up to your rehearsals and they start watching you, and it's a really, really special place to be, because you feel like you're making a connection that Shakespeare wanted you to make. And a connection that we as artists all strive to make as well. So the piece that I chose speaks to what it means to be out here in one of the most beautiful, but also one of the most neglected parts of the city of Harrisburg. And this is from a play that I keep coming back to, and a play that I love very, very much, and I hope one day to work on again. And it's As You Like It. And this is a speech that Duke Frederick gives to his brothers in exile out in the woods. Now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we not the penalty of Adam, the season's difference, as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which, when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are counselors that feelingly persuade me what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head. And this our life, exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it.
For our next submission, we have a song from David Glasgow, our guest from episode 2. Now, David asked that I mention that you can find writing about his song, or about this recording, at his website, which is davidmglasgow.com. And to find this specific piece, you'd put / and then the word imperfection. But as well as that, I'm going to read this. I hope I can convey some of the emotion, or at least not mess up. So David, here's my attempt at relaying your so beautifully written words to the audience. You'd think for all the times I'd shouted, "Strong and wrong," at my students with clenched fists in the air and mock rage on my face, that I'd be better at it. But every time I get ready to upload a new recording to my demo recordings page, the script starts again. Is this really ready to share? Shouldn't I listen through it again to be sure it's okay? Couldn't I hit that note a little more in tune? Shape that phrase a little more precisely? Bring out that nuance with a little more agility? Someone to Fall Back On from Jason Robert Brown's first solo album, Wearing Someone Else's Clothes, is one of those songs that just reaches into my chest and makes me feel. I am no prince, he says. I am no saint, and if that's what you believe you need, you're wrong. I've loved singing this song since I first discovered it, and I've used it in workshops and in worship and in concerts, and I've never once sung it perfectly. There's that out of nowhere high A in the last line of the bridge, the G at the end that I want to hold 2 beats longer than my lungs want me to, and of course the fact that I can't actually make it through the whole song without choking back tears. But every time I've sung it, and I've heard that sound in the audience after the last note fades away, the silence of held breath, of self-recognition, of mute gratitude for the blissful agony of shared pain, something in us needs to remember, and to be reminded, often, that to be human is to be flawed, and that therefore to be flawed in some perplexing but profoundly important ways is to be perfect. This recording is flawed. The song doesn't sound as good here as it does in my mind when I daydream, but when I listened through just now before uploading it, I thought of all the people in my life who I've been able to fall back on, and all the people in my life I hope trust they can fall back on me. And I had the kind of cry that feels really good. Be well, y'all.
I'll never be a knight in armor with a sword in hand, or a kamikaze fighter. Don't count on me to storm the barricades and take a stand, or hold my ground. You'll never see any scars or wounds. I don't walk on coals. I won't walk on water. I am no prince. I am no saint. I am not anyone's wildest dream, but I can stand behind and be someone to fall back on. Some comedy, you're bruised and beaten down, and I'm the one who's looking for a favor. Still, honestly, you don't believe me, but the things I have are the things you need. You look at me like I don't make sense, like a waste of time, like it serves no purpose. Well, I am no prince, I am no saint, and if that's what you believe you need, you're wrong. You don't need much, you just need someone to fall back on, and I'll be that. I'll take your side if I'm the only one. I'm used to that. I've been alone. I'd rather be the half of us, the least of you, the best of me, and I'll be your prince, I'll be your saint, I will come crashing through fences in your name. I swear I'll be someone to fall back on. And for as long as you let me, I will be the one you need. I'll be someone to fall back on. Yeah. Someone to fall back on.
Up next, from episode number 3, we have Clark Nicholson.
Okay, so we're finishing up Jeremy's series, and he wanted all of us to share some words that meant a lot to us. So I have a lot of them, and I thought I'd go ahead and make a little video clip, and you guys can enjoy it as you will. What I want to start off with, I'll start off with some sort of cynical, but I think funny words by a guy I really liked, a theatrical philosopher, playwright, actor named Charles Marowitz, who died a couple years ago, and he was really my hero. He was a great theatrical heretic, and everybody who met him either dearly loved him or just deeply hated him. But Charles Marowitz said, "The actor wants love, the director wants respect, the audience wants 20 minutes off the second act. Nobody gets what they want." I love that. And sometimes we do. I mean, sometimes the actor gets love. Sometimes the director gets respect. The audience never gets the length of play they want, though. I've found that to be true. If you make it too short, then they think you cut it too much. And if you make it too long, it's a tough life. Anyway, I think also I run into so many different, varied kind of folks doing this job, and that's a real blessing of it. And blessed to work with all different kinds of artists, and also to meet all different kinds of people in the audience. And we've taught tons of kids who are of all different hues, And people say, you run a children's theater, you must love children. And my response is, some of them, yeah. There's a lot of them I like. Maybe not that kid, but in general I love them. But what that brings forward to me is a quote by the writer Tom Robbins, who's one of my favorite, who said, "There are two types of people in the world. The type that think that there are two types of people in the world, and the type who are smart enough to know better," which I find to be an excellent guide to dealing with the various souls that you will come in contact on this journey. Next up, a longer piece, and this is actually recently copyrighted, and so I hope I'm not breaking any laws, but I really want to share it with you. There's a current artist that's out there, a young lady from London who started off in the slam poetry hip hop scene. Her name is Kate Tempest, and eventually she started developing her work into speaking first person point of view as characters, and her shows were promoted in theaters. She actually played in New York about 2 years ago, and she's amazing. And this piece, the prologue from her piece, "The Brand New Ancients," it floored me. And every time I probably won't be able to get through it without tearing up, but it crystallizes everything I think about not just doing the job that I do, but just being a human being and valuing the stories that we tell. This is the prologue from her long piece, "The Brand New Ancients," which I'm not trying to infringe copyright. I want you guys to listen to it, and then hopefully you'll go see one of her shows or watch some of her stuff online. In the old days, the myths were the stories we used to explain ourselves. But how can we explain the way we hate ourselves? The things we've made ourselves into, the way we break ourselves in two, the way we overcomplicate ourselves. But we are still mythical. We are still permanently trapped somewhere between the heroic and the pitiful. We are still godly. That's what's made us so monstrous. It just feels like we've forgotten that we're much more than the sum of the things that belong to us. Every single person has a purpose in them burning. Look again. Allow yourself to see them. Millions of characters, each with their own epic narratives, singing, "It's hard to be an angel until you've been a demon." We are perfect because of our imperfections. We must stay hopeful. We must be patient. When they excavate the modern day, they'll find us, the brand new ancients. All that we have here is all that we've ever had. We have jealousy, tenderness, curses, and gifts, but the plight of a people who have forgotten their myths and imagine that somehow now is all that there is a sorry plight. All isolation and worry, but the life in your veins is godly, heroic. You were born for greatness. Believe it, know it. Take it from the tears of the poets. There's always been heroes. There's always been villains. The stakes may have changed, but really there's no difference. There's always been greed and heartbreak and ambition, jealousy, love, trespass, and contrition. We're the same beings that began still living. In all our fury and foulness and friction, everyday odysseys, dreams versus decisions, the stories are there if you listen. The stories are here. The stories are you, and your fear and your hope is as old as the language of smoke, the language of blood, the language of languishing love. The gods are all here because the gods are in us. So that's Kate Tempest from her amazing piece, Brand New Ancients. So check that out if you get a chance. Philosophically, I I'm open to a lot of things. I call myself a Gnostic Christian Buddhist, but I'm open to just about anything, to listening to it and thinking about it. I tend to think that if I Xerox what anybody else thinks and go, "Yep, everything, I got it. What you say is correct," and I follow it, then I'm just I'm just copying, and I'm not really making any kind of connection with anything uh, higher than myself. But what I do really love are some of the amazing words from the Nag Hammadi manuscripts, which are a collection of a lot of different kinds of religious traditions found at Nag Hammadi in the 1940s. We had known about these things for thousands of years, back to Jesus' time, but we'd only read about them. There are these writings, and they weren't found until the 40s. And one of the things they found was the Gospel of Thomas, which is a quote-unquote heretical gospel. But for my uses and purposes, as someone who counts himself as a philosophical Christian, I'm kind of like Thomas Jefferson. I could take or leave the magic show, but I consider myself a philosophical Christian. The Gospel of Thomas is everything. And there's a saying that I probably repeat once a day in my head, and it's very simple, and it goes like this. These are all just sayings of Jesus. If you bring forth that what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And that's from the Gospel of Thomas. That really speaks to me because as a creative person, I find that what I do is in the most benevolent way, I suppose, is very selfish. If I don't get these stories, these ideas out of me and share them with other people and build them with other people because they're not fully formed. I mean, theater is the most collaborative art form. You're in collaboration with the playwright, you're in collaboration with the designers, you're in collaboration with the actors, and ultimately what you come up with, like they say, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts every time. And so that bringing forth is very important to me. Let's see, I love this one by Walt Whitman, very short, because I think a lot of different things that are often contradictory, and people say, well, you just said this, but now you're saying that, and I'm glad that I'm not employed as a logician. I'm employed as an artist, which is very fortunate, and so I always fall back on the wonderful words and sort of get out of jail free card for artists from Walt Whitman, which is, do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. I love that. I think that's so terrific. And couldn't wrap this up without my favorite collaborator, Shakes. Shakes wrote a lot of good words, and I've been doing his plays for well over half my life now. But I still think some of the best are Prospero's speech at the end of the play within the play in The Tempest. And he says, "Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep." That's from Shakespeare's The Tempest, Act 4, Scene 1. Okay, thanks to each and every one of you that watched, and thanks so much to Jeremy for putting this together. I had a blast being part of it, and I had an extra special blast listening to the other 8 folks that he interviewed in this series. It's really cool that he's doing this. We need to do more things like this in Harrisburg. Harrisburg's an amazing place. Harrisburg's just got to understand that. I came from outside. I can see it with eyes, and I've been here for 25 years, and it's great, and it's just getting better. So keep doing the good stuff, and thank you, Jeremy, and everybody have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, from episode number 4, Aaron Bomar.
Hey, I'm going to be doing a monologue from Two Trains Running that ends Act 1. It's Act 1, Scene 3, where Memphis has just came back from court. And I'm going to go from the part where Sterling suggested he burn down the place. Nigga, is you crazy? Insurance costs 5 times what the building is worth. That's why I keep me some good tenants up there. I don't put none of them fools up there that's liable to get drunk and burn down the place. When Mr. Collins died, I let it sit empty 3 months till I got somebody up there that was responsible. I asked Teresa, look back there in the kitchen. I got 4 or 5 fire extinguishers, and you talking about burning down the place. That's the one thing I am scared of. If it burned down, I don't get nothing. I don't even get the 15,000. See, they don't know. The half ain't never been told. I'm ready to walk through fire. They don't know I feel just like I did when my mama died. She got old and gray and sat by the window till she died. She must have done that because she ain't had nothing else to do. I was gone. My brother was gone. Sister gone. Everybody gone. My daddy was gone. She just sat there till she died. I was staying down on Logan Street. I got the letter one day and the telegram the next. They usually fall on top of one another, but not that close. I got the letter and say, if you want to see your mama, you better come on home. Before I could get out the door, I got the telegram saying, it's too late. Your mama gone. I'm trying to borrow some money. I called the train station, found out the schedule. I'm trying to borrow some money. I can't go down there broke. I don't know how long I got to be down there. I got $12.63. I got that telegram, and I sat down and cried like a baby. I could beat any newborn baby in the world crying. I got up and I walked out the door, and everything was different. Everything had changed. I felt like I had been cut loose. All that time, something had a hold of me, and I didn't even know it. Didn't know it till it cut me loose. I got up and walked out the door, and everything had a different color to it. I didn't owe nobody nothing. The last person I owed anything to was gone. I bought $50 from West and went on down there to her funeral. When I come back, I told everybody, you better get out of my way. You couldn't hold me down. It looked like then I had somewhere to go fast. I didn't know where, but I damn sure was going there. See, they don't know. I feel that that's how I feel now. They don't know. I got a clause of my own. You can pick me up off the canvas if you have to. You can carry me out feet first. But my clause say they got to meet my price.
Up next from episode number 5, we have Dustin LeBlanc.
Hello, this is Dustin LeBlanc, the Executive Artistic Director of the Carlisle Theater Company. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for inviting us back to share something that's meaningful to us here. I'm going to share something today that applies to the formation of the Carlisle Theater Company. We are just finishing our 8th season, so we are still fairly young, fairly new in the central Pennsylvania community theater scene. But this past summer, I was fortunate enough to see the musical Hamilton, and among all the brilliant things in it, which is even better than the hype, there was one set of lyrics that particularly stuck out to me, and they came from the song The Room Where It Happens, which Lin-Manuel Miranda has said publicly he thinks is one of the best songs that he's ever written in his life, and I could not agree more. Leslie Odom Jr. It kind of allowed him to show all of his skill set. It was just really one of the highlights in a 3-hour highlight fest, but the particular song, again, is The Room Where It Happens, and that, to give kind of some context to it, if you don't know the show, although if you're in the community theater world, I'm sure you know the show. Whether you like it or not, you know it. But the Congress was fighting about where they were going to put the nation's capital. Hamilton was trying to push through his financial plan, and the Virginians, in this case, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, were opposed to it. They had a 3-person dinner meeting, The Room Where It Happens, where basically Hamilton came out with what he wanted financially, and they came out with moving the nation's capital to the South, which is now in Washington, D.C. But the one set of lyrics that really stuck out to me there is kind of towards the end of the song, after the bargain has immediately happened there, and Alexander Hamilton says, "When you got skin in the game, you stay in the game. But you don't get a win unless you play in the game. Oh, you get love for it, you get hate for it. You get nothing if you wait for it, wait for it. God help and forgive me. I want to build something that's gonna outlive me." That set of lyrics, again, in a brilliant show, they really have resonated with me in terms of the Carlisle Theater Company, and thinking back to, this is our 8th season, so about 9 years ago when we sat down with the board members of the Carlisle Regional Performing Arts Center, and they kind of pitched me and my team, we want to start up a community theater group in here. And so a lot of what's said in there I felt really applied. When Hamilton says you got skin in the game, you stay in the game, it's kind of a metaphor about taking risks for yourself. You can't play to win unless you're making some kind of a commitment. The more risk you take, the more likely you are to follow through, which increases your chances of winning. And certainly it's a risk anytime you want to start something new. You have a dream, you have a vision. In this case, we wanted to start a new community theater group that provided, the best quality musicals that we could to the Carlisle community and then the greater theater community. So certainly that was a risk, and you had to have the commitment of the team. You have to have a commitment of your patrons. You have to have a commitment of performers, and that's something that you have to build over time. And certainly not everyone's always going to agree with you, hence the line, you get love for it, you get hate for it. But you get nothing if you stand around and do nothing. So again, thinking back to that first meeting several Decembers ago to where we are now, I think it was really powerful. And again, what are you looking to do when you form a group? What are you looking to do in theater in general? And I think there's the line, I want to build something that's going to outlive me. You want to have some kind of legacy, something that people will remember, that will outlive you. And again, hopefully here in the next few years, we'll continue to offer some productions that are both interesting to audiences, interested to performers. I believe at the time this comes out, we will have announced our 2017 season. We're announcing it on June 1st, so certainly check that out. Sorry, that's like a shameless plug, and that's terrible, but we're really excited about it. Our 9th season, we think we have some really fun shows. But again, it's just, you got to take risks. You got to love what you do. You got to be committed to what you do. You got to be able to accept that there's going to be people who love you for it, that hate you for it. Hopefully, ultimately, they respect you for it, and you got to go after what you want there. And in this case, it was building a theater group and building something that when I'm gone, when my team is gone, it's still going to be there, and hopefully something that the community enjoys and appreciates. So thank you again. I think this is a wonderful thing that is happening, and I can't wait to hear what all of the other artists had to share.
Ladies and gentlemen, from episode number 6, Paul Hood.
It's monologue for the Capital Area Theater Show. Just a little background. This is from my 2-act play, My Electric Life. His first monologue. It actually is his first one in the play, and he's just kind of talking about how what the beginning of why he's his search, because the play is about searching and connecting to other people. So I'll just get into it, and I'll recite it. I actually had to play the character myself last summer at Gamut Theater Studio when we did a workshop production of it there. Midnight already, and all I wanted to know was why my best friend killed himself over a woman. Yep, that's the shit I typed in the Google search engine. Next thing I know, a slip of my finger led me somewhere totally different. Now it's late as hell, and I look at the clock, which now looks foreign, like something alive and aggravating, because I'll have to get up in 5 hours, and I'm still logged in. I can't leave this world I've trapped myself in for 6. Yeah, 6 months? Honestly, I've trained my eyes to avoid looking at the clock anymore. Looking at the time makes me realize what I'm missing, what's going on out in the world, where I am in time, and it pisses me off. Am I free? I have freedom, but I don't feel free at all. Man, I'm on 10 different dating sites and haven't been on a date in 10 months. On Twitter, I have absolutely nothing to say. Practically live online and have a total of 1,038 friends on one site and have not one actual friend. And don't get me started on the multitude of internet porn sites I've visited, only to have the thrill of watching men have sex with women that look like ones I fantasize about. All kinds too. Yeah, black ones, white ones, Asian ones, fat ones, skinny ones. Online, offline, or maybe outline. Inline? Off because I'm off the map, off the grid, off from society. Outline because I'm out of my mind. It's all shit news, viral videos, and braggarts who leave nothing for their internal selves. Internal is external now, folks. Yep. There's nothing left for us to say to each other in person because no one gives a shit about what I or anyone else has to say in person. And the tragedy of all this is, yep, I'm a product of the virtual epidemic. And there's a pause in there where Manny hears a new email come in. And then his last line is, well, I do love when I get an email. So, and then the play moves forward from there. It was great doing this, and please support the Capital Area Theater Show hosted by Jeremy Patterson in future when he does more segments. So thank you, and have a good day, everybody. All right.
From episode number 7, Karen Rook.
I chose Prospero's epilogue from The Tempest because I do believe that this is Shakespeare's voice, asking the audience not just for their applause, because we don't do theater just for the applause, but we do it to share with the audience. And it really speaks to how much of a collaborative effort theater is with the audience itself. They are the final character in a play, and we have to have an audience in order for our art to be complete. So I do love this particular soliloquy because I think it speaks to how special theater is in that way, and also that Prospero is asking for their indulgence and their forgiveness in a way to set him free. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples let me not. Since I have my dukedom got, and pardoned the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell. But release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
From episode number 8, Gabrielle Dixon.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Dixon, and I just kind of wanted to give some reflections on my life in the theater. My years in theater have changed the direction of my life. Without it, I have no idea where I'd be. For over 10 years, theater has saved me. And the stage has always been a place that I could pour my whole self out. I could leave everything. It's a kind of therapy for me, but the best kind. I have made lifelong friends and met inspiring individuals who have given me the tools to utilize as a performer. I've had the amazing opportunity to be able to apprentice under some of the most talented artists of our time. I've received critiques and feedback and got to work with them one-on-one, and I am so thankful for people like them. They helped shape me as an actress, and I watched and soaked in their skills. But I am still always learning and desperately trying to forever improve and grow. One thing I've learned is that I never want to stay stagnant. There is always a way to become a better me and a better performer. But I also never want to take my talents for granted. I am so grateful for the huge gifts God has given me, and I try to stay humble as I figure out where they will lead me. But truthfully, it makes me so happy every day to wake up and know that I get to be a part of this community. I get to work with an astounding group of people who are accepting, driven, caring, sometimes a little messed up, but mostly unquestionably and ridiculously talented. Not a lot of people get to have that type of satisfaction in their line of work. I am and will forever be so proud to be an actor.
And that is series number 1 of the Capital Area Theater Show. I want to thank everyone so much for their participation, all of the guests and all of the listeners and all of the people behind the scenes who helped with any of the visual or audio aspects of the show. We are truly blessed to live in such a great, great area and to have so much wonderful artwork going on around us. I cannot wait to let you guys see what we have planned for series number 2. Thank you so much.